So, hello, dear teachers. I hope you are fine today. And if you can hear me well, please put plus. And today, we are going to speak a little bit about features of teaching English. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about different methodologies. And before that, I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself. Yeah, so is it okay for you? Please write in the comments your name, where are you from, a little bit about your teacher experience, like how many years, and what do you hope to learn today? Just a little bit in short, okay? It would be nice for me to read all about you. And while you're doing that, I will tell you a little bit about myself. So, I'm Maria. I'm English language methodologist. Here you can see my email. This email is exactly for you, so you can write emails to me with any questions that you're interested in. I will reply, of course. And even if you want to meet with me, it is also possible. So I see that here is the hello from Odessa. Hello. I'm actually from Kyiv, and I have from Sumy, okay. From Cherkasy, great. From Ivano-Frankivsk, okay. Is there anyone from Kyiv, maybe? Half a year as a teacher, okay. Half a year, great. Greetings from Kyiv. Aha, we have someone from Kyiv, Lviv region, great. Okay. And so while you're writing and I'm reading everything, I want to tell you a little bit that I really like, for 7 years, okay, I really like different methods of teaching. That's why today we're going to speak about it, and I think it should be great. Sorry for Kiev, the morning was terrible. Yeah, that's true. I woke up and I was a little bit afraid, but now it's okay because we are here together to share our knowledge. I'm German and English teacher. Okay, nice. From Mirgorod, from Chernivtsi. I'm exhausted. Yeah, that's true. You probably after work came here, and I will teach you today. Yeah, it's really strange. Okay, good evening. 32 years of teaching experience. Wow, that's nice. That's a lot. Yeah, and let's go on with what we're going to speak about today. So we're going to speak about effective strategies that can be used for language acquisition, how to adapt to learners' needs, and how to teach language skills. These are the main questions today. And you can continue writing. Please write any questions that you have, any comments. I will read everything and I will answer. That's really exciting for me too. I'm turning it C. So many people. I'm turning it C. Okay, nice. And let's start with the first slide that I want to discuss with you. So I want you to write in the comments what methods of teaching do you know? And what is your favorite one? Maybe you know everything, you like the exact one. Maybe you even can write why you like it. It is also okay. So please write me in the comments while I will tell you a little bit about this quote here. So, language is the roadmap of a culture. It tells you where its people come from and where they are going. So, teaching English is not just about learning. It's not just about learning grammatical rules or vocabulary lists, yeah? It's about helping our students love a language, fostering communication skills, preparing our students for a globalized world where English is a key to unlocking countless opportunities. So, in the future, it's not just we can give them to pass the exam, yes, like NMT, for example. No, we also want to yeah, that's okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I I will wait when I see my screen. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, project method, interactive method. Okay, good. So I see that you're writing. So this quote by Rita Brown summarizes the profound connection between language and culture. As English educators, our role extends beyond grammar. We should encourage cultural understanding, effective communication, and the ability to navigate the diverse landscapes of our interconnected world. What a great words I prepared for you today. Um, so let me read the comments, please. Right. Project method, CCQs, the direct method feedback. Okay. Flipped class, communicative, project and interactive. This is interesting. How do you use project in English? So if you're able to, please um, write it in the comments. Okay. And of course, communication is the key. And we are going to have the overview of some of the commonly used methods. But first, it's communicative language teaching, or CLT. This is the most popular one. After it came to us after grammar translation method, of course. And let me tell you a little bit about it. First, a little bit about history. Communicative language teaching methodology emerged in the 1980s. Why it emerged? Because there was a huge demand for a language, um, especially English, and that methodology should have enabled learners to use the second language in real life situation. But previously, we had only like grammar translation method, or where people almost every time learned grammar rules, focused on not on communication but on doing different tasks. But we understand that language, it's not just the rules, that's also some communication and interaction. That's why that was one of the first methods that were introduced for us. At the end of the day, we can use this method to focus on interaction during a classroom-based foreign language class. Also, it is perfectly great to use in online class. It is also possible. So the main idea of it to emphasize real-life communication, including role plays and problem-solving dilemmas, debates, and so on. And we can encourage active participation in the way that we can pair our students, or we can put them into the groups of different people, and so on. I will tell you a little bit more about exactly this method, and then we will look at other methods too. So let's look at the first one, which is the communication. Yeah, so the key principle of ECLT is a communication. So we should focus on developing students' ability to communicate effectively in real-life situations and encourage use for meaningful purpose rather than rote memorization, which is that we basically shouldn't give them just words to learn and then give them the task to do. We also should encourage them to speak. And that's why here you can see the task from the book, where students choose the role, so student A or student B, and they need to follow these instructions. So basically, student 1 should tell what happened at school yesterday and include some mistakes, like 2 or 3 mistakes, not grammatical mistakes, but actually what really didn't happen, but he said that it happened. And then the next student should guess what happened. This is the exact example of speaking for CLT. Great task in which student can learn how to be polite, of course, when you correct these mistakes, how to use past simple, and some interesting phrases that we have over here. For example, it was a nice story, but you weren't always right. Yes, and here you can see the example. Let's go on. So that was the first key principle of CLT. The next key principle is the real life language use. So imagine our classroom as bridges to the real world. With CLT, we aim to prepare our students for authentic language, use beyond the textbooks. We want them to confidently navigate real-world situations where English is medium of communication. So we emphasize teaching language in context. We focus on the situation where it can happen, not just someone went somewhere and we don't know why they did it. Yeah, we integrate authentic materials and scenarios exactly to make our students more interested in the subject. And as the example from the book, I prepared this interesting task for students where they need to make a short video about the place where they live, and they should introduce this to their friends. It's not a must, but as an example, they can introduce them to you, to their parents, and so on. So the main idea is that teenagers and our students, they usually like bloggers. And this is the way how they can become bloggers too. As the helper for them, I would recommend to send them a video of a girl or a boy when they show the place where they live. There are so many different videos on YouTube, so you can find the best one. That will be as an example for them. And after this, you can give them this task. So please make a video about yourself and the place where you live. So it's not exactly about their home, but more like their neighborhood, or maybe about their city where they live. So it can be different things. So basically, any task that you have in the book, you can change. You can shape it for our needs and use it for real life language use in that case where you see that your students will actually use it. So what do you think about this task? Please tell me. Write in the comments, what do you think about the task that I just prepared for you as an example, yes, of a real life language use. Maybe if you have your own examples, please write in the comments. I would love to read it too. Let's go on with the next one. Next key principle is interactive learning. I saw that some of you actually wrote something about it, about interactive learning. I wouldn't say that it's exactly a method, but a key principle of different methods. So what does it mean to be interactive? Yep. In CLT, we use different encouraging activities like role playing, discussion, and group work. So we promote student interactions. We give them different tasks that they need to do together. Why it is important? Yeah. Because these activities can create the environment in which students use their language to communicate and solve different problems. And for students, it's very important to give the motivation why they actually need to do the task. What is the main purpose of this task? Because sometimes they don't understand why they need to do it. So we give them the purpose. And here is the example from the book. As the whole page is about education, is about communication. So they read this dialogue together. They can read it together one by one. And after that, they use different useful language here. And then they work in pairs to promote the same thing. They make this dialogue but about themselves. Usual task, but quite interesting for communication and role play. And again, you can shape it for your needs. You can change the situation, where are the people, and so on. But the main idea of using the phrases will be the same. And as you can see in the book, we can see lots of tasks that are devoted to these principles. Exactly. Okay, let's go on. And the next key principle is authentic materials. I would say that authentic materials are quite difficult to find in the books. Usually, we use some extra materials for that. So we need to find different videos on YouTube, audio, maybe stand-ups, why not? Maybe different real world texts. How to use them with our students, it is quite difficult in case of that there are lots of different words that they may not understand. But again, that's okay. We shouldn't be afraid of that, because our main feature of this would be for them to understand the context only, not to understand the whole dialogue or each word in it. Yeah, our main thing is to understand the context at all and make the experience more relevant. So, for example, if you have a student who likes, I don't know, computer games. Yeah, you may find the great video about uh, about the game that he likes, and suggest to watch it together, and ask what is the main idea of the video, what did he understand, what does he like or he doesn't like about this video, and so on. Another example would be an interview with a model. Yeah. Also, they will tell about themselves, and she will. So, and your students will need to explain some information about the people in it, some information just in general about this model, but without difficult words. In the book, as examples, I just found some exercises that might be connected to your student's life. For example, countryside. So here is the picture of like of a little town or village, and you just discuss what things are there, and you ask them to describe, for example, what they could see in their village, something like that. Or you can actually take the whole interview and look through the script. Maybe you'll find some interesting materials in it. Okay, let's go on. Also, I saw in the comments student-centered learning. Why is it important that the student must be in the center, not the teacher? So teachers should facilitate, guide, and create an environment where learners take an active role in their language journey. Sorry, I'm right. I'm reading your comments. Yeah. I think this task can develop students' imagination. Yeah, imagination is also important. We should empower our students to take an active role, as I told you, and express and help students to express themselves and negotiate meaning. So the student is in the center. In case of a group of students will be in the city, in the center of the city in your classroom. So which means actually that students should speak more than 60% during the lesson, and teachers should speak less than 40% during the lesson. Can you tell me in the comments if it is possible actually during your lesson, or is it difficult for you to accomplish? Usually there are some specific apps that can measure how much you were speaking and your students were speaking. Yeah, there is an app like that. It is possible to measure, but approximately we measure it by ourselves, of course. So how to make students speak? We give them more and more tasks where they read and listen and answer the questions, and they role play and drilling, yes, and everything together will make them speak. It's not like they must speak only by what they have in their mind. No, they can speak by answering your questions. If they can't answer the question, give them the prompts, give them examples, put them in pairs, because it is also important for students to feel that no one is listening and assessing them. They should feel free, knowing that no teacher will come and say, hey, this is not correct. this is not correct. You should say like this. So they should have the environment where they can make mistakes. And speaking about mistakes, we're going to the next part, next principle, which is error tolerance. Very important for a student that mistakes are okay. And you should remember that mistakes are part of the learning process. And in a CLT classroom, we foster the environment where students feel comfortable taking risks, knowing that errors are opportunities for growth and improvement. There are different ways how we can do it. First of all, we shouldn't stop our students when they're speaking. Yep, we shouldn't correct them while they are speaking. Also, we shouldn't correct them a lot. Even if they make lots of mistakes, it's okay. We shouldn't just stop and give and say something like, "Hey, this is a mistake. This is a mistake. This is a mistake." They wouldn't feel comfortable with it on the next day and during other lessons. In the book, we have a very interesting task. Here you can see it on the screen, where there are 3 cards, and first card, I can do it very well. I need extra practice. I can't do it. So I think that you can actually do this together with your students. You can complete this part. You can give him a hint with what your students need extra practice and with what they actually can't do at all and they really need to practice it even more. Or you can give it just to a student and they will understood them by themselves. So it's a very interesting approach that we have in our book. Another approach, of course, it's a delayed error correction, where during the lesson, you just write all the things that you think are worth correcting. And after that, you show them on the board, but of course, you shouldn't say what exactly happened there. So you write all the mistakes on the board, yeah, and ask them to check them. That's all. That's all that you can do. You can give it as a homework also, why not? To correct mistakes. And another one is peer correction, when students correct each other. It is also possible, but maybe for specific tasks. So, for example, when they do the task together, after this task, you can ask them to correct each other. It is also possible. So we can go on. I see the comment that it's possible, but it depends on the level of the student. So yes, of course, these percentages of speaking during the lesson depends on the level. Yeah, that's correct. But by giving students the chance to read more and read and do tasks in groups and speaking after each task, that would be beneficial for them. And maybe it is possible to reach those 60% even after even if their level is quite low. So I think it's possible. But you really need to try hard. That's true. So the last what I wanted to say about exactly this approach, some tips. So how can we bring CLT into our classroom? First of all, you need to start small. So begin by incorporating short communicative activities into your lesson. Then gradually increase complexity as students become more confident. At first, students won't understand why you ask them to speak. They won't understand what do you want from them? We came here just to sit, and do nothing. But you just start with small tasks for 1-2 minutes. Little role playing, little discussions, little debates in the classroom. And after that, they will become more comfortable. They will adjust, and I think it will be successful in the end. Speaking about pairs and groups activities, you should make them more and more. You can create or remake each task in your book for pair and group activities. It is also possible. Then we should use authentic materials. As I told you, it can be not like each time or each lesson. It can be just as homework or as extra for something. For example, if your students behaved really well, next time we will watch a movie, maybe all together, for example, or listen to a song or something like that. Then, again, task-based learning. We should structure our lesson around language use, but don't forget about different exercises or role-playing exercises to stimulate authentic communication. You can include more and more debates and discussions. You can find them everywhere in the internet. You can use ChatGPT, why not, to create debates. So for example, for each lesson, you can create a little debate, give them to students, and they can communicate together. Then create a language-rich environment. It means that, for example, when your students enter your class, they must speak only English. Even if it's not correct, even with mistakes. Let them use, I don't know, translators maybe. For example, when they want to ask something, when they want to, I don't know, speak about their own life with you, they should do it in English. That will be like a little play with them, yeah. You can even give them a little bonuses for it, or the opposite, yeah. So create a space for them when they can express and share their ideas exactly in English or any other languages if you teach other languages. You can also use lots of different labels, posters, displays, and they will be immersed in a linguistic environment. Well, also quite good. I think you all know that, and I'm sure that you do it, if of course you have the opportunity. Then don't forget about technology. Of course, we can use technology, digital tools, learning apps, and so on. There are so many different apps that you can use, for example, for speaking even. You can give them the link with a website, with cards, and they can use it for speaking, for example, or even a game. Why not? I have a comment here. If the student is motivated, she will do it with pleasure. Agree. And what if the student is not motivated? What to do? Should we give up on such student, or should we continue, try to encourage them, or what should we do? It's a very interesting question. So if you can, you may write in the comment. I will read it. And the last one, feedback and reflection. don't forget about it, please. We all forget that we just say like, great, well done, or what, good, you are such a good student, yeah, and so on. But no, it's not enough. We should give feedback on language use. If a student, for example, of as an example, I can give you this. We have imagine that we have a class, they're all doing the task, they are speaking and so on, and someone used a very cool phrase. You really like this phrase. I don't know what phrase can it be, but I don't know, the word encourage, for example. Quite a good word, why not? So, and after the lesson, you can say that, hey, this student today used the word encourage. What a great word. Let's like write it on the board. You write it on the board, and then you give him a little point or something. You say that great language use. You can ask, how did you know about this word? And the student will tell you like, I watched a video and this my favorite blogger used this word, and like, great, super. So, and next time other students will try to find interesting vocabulary in their everyday life, and they will come to you and they will use it. So that would be nice. It's my cup of tea. Yeah, we don't usually say that to students. Hey student, you're my cup of tea. Yeah. Yeah, but imagine that your student told you that someone is not a cup of tea, and you're like, great, where did you hear this idiom? Yes, and every time all students will try to give something to you during the lesson. So this is my idea, but of course there are so many different ideas how we can encourage students while giving them feedback. So this is the main idea. We can encourage during the feedback. Of course, we also can ask feedback from them. For example, you can actually ask, did you like this task? Did you like this role play? What role play do you want to do? Or you can ask them about the topic of the lesson that they would like to have once. Not each time, of course, but for example, again, if everyone will do their homework, next lesson will be a lesson about your topic. You can choose it. Or even let one student to lead the lesson, to choose the tasks for everyone. Why not? It also encourages students to be motivated during the lesson, to be interested. So we finished with this approach, with this method, and now shortly I'm going to give you some hints about other approaches. And first, one of my favorite approaches here, lexical approach. So lexical, yeah, logical, what it means. It's about words, vocabulary. So, what is the lexical approach? It's an instructional method that shifts the focus from grammar rules to the building blocks of a language, which are words, phrases, and expressions. Not only words, as you understand. Yeah, there can be different chunks, as we call them, idiomatic constructions. So, at the core of the lexic approach is the idea of lexical primacy. It acknowledges that learners often acquire and use vocabulary before mastering complex grammatical structures. And vocabulary is the gateway to effective communication. It's connected with this very interesting phrase. Um, um, One moment. London is the capital of Great Britain. Yes, lots of students know and make fun of this phrase, but this is actually a great example of lexical approach where they don't know the rules. London is the Yeah, we don't teach them is or the or other grammatical things which are inside this sentence, but they know this sentence by heart. Why? Because we put attention on it. So the main idea is the same with collocations and chunks, some natural word combinations. Here are the example of such things that I found in the book. For example, save water. Why we use save, not, I don't know, transform or any other word? Why we use save? So we make our students to remember the phrase save water. And we teach them how we can save water. We can save water by or doing something. And our student will learn not only bags or cups, but plastic bags, paper cups. Our student won't just learn TV or tap, but turn on the tap, turn off the tap, especially in the context. For example, ways of saving water. So we turn on or turn off the tap to save water. How many phrases they learn during this? How many words they are learning during this, and how many grammar rules they should learn to say those things. Generally, we don't use grammar here, we just use this lexical approach. We give them chunks that they match, they use in groups, they hear them, and that is the main idea. On the next slide, on the next part of the slide, we also have different phrases like have a snack, fall asleep, get into the van. So again, we don't just learn the word have a snack, but we learn them with the help of the picture, and then we make sentences with them. Logically, yep. So we should prioritize the words. So we usually don't give them all the words to learn. Usually we prioritize them. We use high frequency words and phrases that are based on usage in real life context. Again, we should connect everything to a real life context. And we should encourage them to speak and to listen. So these are the main skills in lexical approach, not only speaking, but actually also listening. So they should understand English. They should participate in conversation. They shouldn't just memorize the rules or memorize the words. So this is the main idea of lexical approach. The next one is also quite popular one, test, teach, test. Basically, the lesson is like, first, we are testing our students, then we're giving them some rules a little bit, and then we are again testing if they understood the rules correctly. So the first test stage should introduce the context and give the learners a chance to do a task or activity. For example, here we need to find 5 regular and 5 irregular verbs in the text, and then just read them. So maybe they don't know what are these regular or irregular. Maybe they won't even do it correctly. That's okay. You just give them a task. And then you just observe. You watch out for errors or omissions that they use in the language. Then you're only planning to help them. So you should write down some very difficult moments. For example, with the word buy, they won't find it because buy was quite difficult. They won't pronounce it correctly. But yeah, it's quite difficult again. But they would find the word understand, I think, or the word fall. It's okay for them. But probably not. So you wrote it down, and then you jot down these mistakes when you hear them, and you can use them as examples in your next stage. sometimes this kind of tasks are really cool when we are selecting specific topics and context. For example, we can ask them to give each other some pieces of advice. And maybe they heard somewhere or they remember and they will start use modal verbs like you could, you should, you must, even before you told them to do so. And that will be a great bonus for you. So it's not a must, but that's a great idea, yes, for me. So after this bonus, after this activity with information gap or opinion gap or knowledge gap, you need to give them a little bit of teaching. So this stage is like presentation. So you wrote down some errors, you show them the errors, and you teach them this target language. Or you just do the tasks like here. In your notebook, write past simple forms of the verbs below. Listen, check, and repeat. Basically, you do it together with your students. You wrote them on the board, you drill the pronunciation, you check if everyone said it correctly, and so on. That's what you focus on. Yep, this is the main idea. So you should focus on form and accuracy here. You can do delayed error correction here, exactly. Not on the last stage, but exactly on teaching stage. Then you can give examples. You can give more examples. For example, with the word buy. Yeah, you can say like not just bought, but he bought flowers. He bought a computer, and ask them to produce it. Yeah, and this is a quite good activity. And then we come to the next second test. Finally, our learners do know everything, or they are supposed to know everything, and we encourage them to use the target language, our target grammar, and so on. And our task as teachers would be to monitor them, to check, to see if they are accurate enough. So my thoughts on test, it's quite good with classes. If you don't know them well, you don't know what they know or they don't know, you're afraid that they won't speak, you can try this method. I also saw in the comments you were speaking about direct method or natural method. Quite interesting method, but not for everyone, of course, as usual. But even with this method, I found some interesting tasks here. So the main idea it's not just a teaching approach, it's a philosophy that believes that language is best learned through direct immersion and communication. And it was developed by studying how children learn their native language. How they learn it? They learn it one by one, naming different items around us, saying what is that and what is that. They learn it using trial and errors, different actions and reactions. And first, what our students learn is speaking. They don't know how to write. They usually don't know grammar rules or even letters sometimes. They only know different phrases. So natural method typically focuses more on speaking and listening as usual, not on reading and writing. And instead of memorization, we again use vocabulary acquisition through the context. Yes, exactly, by repeating. So we repeat and repeat the same phrases all over again because we have like so much time instead of learning grammar, for example. So example. Yeah, I will give you the example with it. So imagine that you have a student, yeah, and You start with this phrase like, let's imagine we're in a cafe. Sarah, imagine we have Sarah. Sarah, can you order a cup of coffee using what we learned today? And she's like, sure, I'd like a black coffee, please. So we learned, I'd like to, yeah, or I'd like. And you're practicing with each of them. You give them a chance to communicate with each other. You ask them to use the new phrases, but with different words. You need to give them lots of space, produce the language, give them lots of different words, and they will use it in their language flow. And this is the main idea. Next one, task-based language, or TBLT. It's quite usual, I think, approach. Everyone is using it, but let's dive deeper a little bit. So the focus is on one detailed task. It should be interesting. Usually we have three distinct phrases: a pre-task, the task, and post-task. Students, for example, might be asked to deliver a presentation about an important environmental issue. And to complete it, they will need to read, to listen, to find materials, to conduct an internet research, maybe have a little writing, and deliver the presentation. And then, in the end, there will be a post-task when they will discuss everything together. It is one of the example. Another example is here on this page. So first, students are discussing these questions about the reading part. Then they read. You get the idea from the text. They get the idea from the text. Then they find the words and they listen and check, and they prepare the same text again. I usually like this task-based language teaching exactly for writing tasks. They're quite good because you can teach them different phrases for writing, give them the example for writing, and speak for writing, for the topic, and give them lots of ideas what to write about. That's also a great idea. The next one is Cooperative Language Learning, or CLL. Quite easy thing. Basically, cooperative. You should collaborate. You give them a chance to collaborate. So the idea is that all the tasks they do together. All the tasks are deliberately designed to maximize opportunities for social interactions. They should accomplish all the tasks interacting between themselves and talking and working together. I like it especially when we have online lesson and we have lots of students, but we have those rooms. For example, in Zoom or in Teams, we have those rooms and we put them into the rooms each time when they give them the task. Grammar test, vocabulary test, gap field, and so on. All the tests they do together. This is the main idea. So, and here I prepared some examples. So first, they communicate together, they read and listen the conversation together, they learn the phrases together, highlighted words, they translate everything together, and then they can work in groups of 3, choose these roles, and make a conversation. So this is a great idea from the book. Of course, I will tell you about the last two methods that are not quite good for Ukrainian education, but you should know about them. So the first one is content and language integrated learning, the main idea, where you study, when you teach one subject, For example, biology, science, history, or anything like that. And while you're teaching this, you also teach English at the same point. So this is usually for international students, or maybe you can, if you know another subject, you can teach them together. For example, you know literature, and you can use it both language and the literature, math and literature, physics and literature. I mean English. So in this case, your students will know lots of target language that are connected to the subject. But this approach has some minuses, of course. We don't usually communicate in real life situations. Usually it's exactly about the subject. And then physical response, total physical response. Quite good approach, but not for all students, because they may be afraid of standing up or going through the class and so on. So the main idea is to improve the language using physical activity. And here is the example from the book. We have different pictures with phrases: he's hungry, he's quite hungry, he's very hungry, and we should encourage them to show the difference. What is the difference between quite hungry and very hungry? And other tasks is the same. We have the adjectives hot, tired, expensive, cold, and tall, and we should somehow show it instead of just pronounce it or making a sentence with it. So that's all about the methodologies. I prepared a little table for you to show you how many different methods we have in the world. And of course, we may not use them all, but the modern language teacher doesn't follow one method. You should apply different methods that would fit to the learner. You can choose each technique or activity that would be appropriate for this particular task, for this particular context, or for this learner. Your task is not to choose one method and do only this. You should make your students more independent, more motivated. This is the main idea. And then you can just adjust different methodologies for different tasks. That's the main idea what I wanted to give you today. And the last two questions that we have, it's how to adapt to learners' needs. I think we discussed this this all this time, yeah, but still don't forget about collaboration, individual learning styles. Don't forget that some people are visual, auditory, kinesthetic combinations, yeah. That's why different methods will help you with this. Try to change instructions for them. Try to change your approach in grammar, how you give the grammar, how you give the vocabulary. Try to support students and give them lots of different extra materials, you know, like tables, like photos, like videos, if they don't understand something. So always support their visual. Don't forget to give them feedback and be flexible in lesson planning. Also, you can assess them not only by giving them a test, but also use different methods like quizzes, maybe online projects, presentations, portfolios even. You should ask them what they like and what they don't like. Ask them for feedback and then use it at work. or when you're planning a lesson. And the last, how to teach English language skills. So here are my favorite tasks that I like when we're speaking about different skills. So as you remember, we have 4 main skills: listening, reading, speaking, and writing. And that's what I like about them. Lots of peer interaction, pronunciation practice, why not? Vocabulary building, extensive reading, genre-specific writing tasks, peer review and feedback. I like when students collaborate with each other. So you may take screenshots or ask any questions if you're interested in. And the last that I wanted to tell you is this about our social media. Don't forget to subscribe to our Facebook channel, and you will find lots of different methodological activities and some announcements. Also, recently we've created a Viber channel where you may speak to other people, other teachers. Speak with me. I will give you some interesting events, news, information, and answer all your questions. So please subscribe to this too. And also, I remember about the certificates that you should complete after the webinar. And the link you will find here on this video, somewhere in the description. So you may find it here, okay? But if you don't know where to find it, you can also write me in Viber or on email. That's okay. I will answer, okay? It was really nice to speak to you today and to help you with different methodologies and answer to your questions and find out more about you. Thank you all for coming today. Thank you a lot. Hope it was interesting for you too, and especially informative. Yeah, thank you for coming. I wish you a great day. Safe, of course. Yeah, be safe. And hope to see you in our next webinars. Okay, see you. Bye.